So for a long time now, we've had this argument, which has been floating around in the ether, that, bro, did you know that actually the Republicans are becoming the party of the working class and stuff, bro? Did you know that, bro? We've heard this time and time again. Now, the fact of the matter is, nothing could be further from the truth. They've gotten more egregious with their lies. So in other words, at times you'll have Republicans like Josh Hawley or Marco Rubio pretending to be populist, pretending to look out for the working class. But really that just masks what their actual voting record is. Like Josh Hawley, who's like leads the charge on this, with the right being the party of the working class now, he voted against raising the minimum wage. There's even like hardcore corporate centrist Democrats who voted for raising the minimum wage, but Josh Hawley, the Republican, voted against it, right? None of these people are for the PRO Act, for example, pro-union legislation. None of these people have said a word in support of Biden changing the NLRB rules to give more people overtime pay, or changing the NLRB rules so that if a boss does union busting, the union is automatically recognized. They're all fake populists, right? But look, I have to say, there are some people who are Republican classic. And at least they are more honest about what they actually believe and what their voting record shows. So I'm covering this to show you how anti-worker these people are. But the little cherry on top, which is more important, is actually, well, thank you at least for being honest. Tim Scott, Nikki Haley. So Tim Scott was asked about the UAW strike, and here's what he said.
I think Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, you strike, you're fired. Simple concept to me. To the extent that we could use that once again, absolutely. The second thing I would do, though, is very important. This is probably not a well-known fact. The first thing, part of the challenge that we have today with President Biden is, and I don't mean this to be disingenuous, I mean this to be sincere. I'm not sure if the words are bought and paid for, but certainly he has been leased by the unions. And I say that because the first bill he passed, y'all remember the $1.9 trillion COVID relief package? That only had 1% for COVID vaccines? It had $86 billion, I believe, for union pensions. Because they keep making these deals. And as a result of the deal, they promise too much, deliver too little, and the taxpayers pick up the tab.
Oh, I love this so much. First of all, I have my list of like, here are the good things Biden did, here are the bad things Biden did, and I share all the facts with you guys because I'm honest, and that's what you're supposed to do if you're sitting in my chair, right? But I didn't know that one. I got to add that one to the list. So Biden helped out the union pension fund with some of the COVID relief packaging. Based, son. I love that. He's bringing that up to attack Biden. This guy's looking out for workers, bro. Unbelievable. And I don't know if you caught it at the beginning. I'll play it for you one more time. This is the most important point from Tim Scott.
I think Ronald Reagan gave us a great example when federal employees decided they were going to strike. He said, you strike, you're fired. Simple concept to me. To the extent that we could use that once again, absolutely.
So Ronald Reagan gave us a good concept when he said, if you strike, you're fired. Wow. Wow. Hey, again, props for honesty. He's not with the workers. He's with management. He's with bosses. He's with billionaires. He's with corporations. Understand something. And Shapiro did a segment on this too recently. And of course, what they do is they lie by omission. They don't tell you the facts that go against their narrative in their case. What they don't tell you is, in 2008, when we had the Great Recession, basically all of these union workers took a haircut. They took a haircut. There was the bailout of GM, but the workers were told, hey man, look, we can't afford this stuff now, so you guys got to take a haircut. And they took a haircut. And here we are in 2023. The Great Recession was in 2008. Here we are in 2023. And there's been no redressing of those grievances. We have record corporate profits. Record. And their pay wasn't increased. Certainly not back in line with what they should be making. You had the executives get a 40% pay increase. The CEO makes over $20 million a year. So they're saying, hey, we just want our fair share. Increase our pay 40%. Let's do a 4-day work week. They won't tell you the part about they took a giant haircut and those grievances weren't redressed. They won't tell you the part about the CEOs, the executives getting a 40% pay increase. They won't tell you the part about the record profits. Shockingly, you know who is telling you that? Joe Biden. He's already out there. He said it. He's using the union framing. Record profits should mean record contracts. That's what Biden's saying, and that's what the union's saying, and they're right. And here's Tim Scott saying, you strike, you're fired. Points for honesty. This ain't remotely populist, ain't remotely pro-working class. This is old school, robber baron, Reaganomics nonsense is what this is. So now we move on to one Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley is asked a similar question from Neil Cavuto, and let's see how she handles it.
With this United Auto Workers strike, we understand, Ambassador, that Chrysler is the latest company to have offered a 21% pay raise for workers over those 4 years. That kind of mimics what Ford and GM had offered, but that was quickly turned down. What do you make of that and where this is going? If they're turning down a raise like that, what does that tell you?
Well, I think it tells you that when you have the most pro-union president and he touts that he is emboldening the unions, this is what you get. And I'll tell you who pays for it is the taxpayers. Here, from what I understand.
No, that's not true at all. The taxpayers aren't paying it. The company's going to have to pay it. That's the whole point. God, so that's so dishonest. But I love how she's like, bro, I got a really great new attack against Joe Biden. He's way too pro-union, bro. That Joe Biden's always looking out too much for workers, bro. By all means, proceed.
The union is asking for a 40% raise. The companies have come back with a 20% raise. I think any of the taxpayers would love to have a 20% raise and think that's great. But, the problem is we're all going to suffer from this. This is going to cause things to go up. And, this is going to last a while. But, when you have a president that's constantly saying, go union, this is what you get. The unions get emboldened and then they start asking for things that, that companies have a tough time doing.
The point is they don't have a tough time doing it. That's the point. That's the point. Record profits, over 40% pay increase for the executives. They took the haircut in 2008. Those grievances haven't been redressed. They can afford it. That's the point. That's the point. They're spending by the way, here's another thing they won't tell you. These companies have spent a tremendous amount of money on stock buybacks. Stock buybacks were illegal before Ronald Reagan. It was only in the 1980s they became legal. You want to know why? Because they're incredibly scammy. But they'd rather do stock buybacks than pay their workers better. Nikki Haley's not going to tell you any of that. But I love the main line of attack against Joe Biden is, this guy, man, he's way too pro-worker. Gross. Props for the honesty that you're so anti-worker that you're like, you think it's an attack to be like, this guy's actually helping the unions. How dare he?
Government should get involved in this. These are private sector matters. But I do think the tone of how a president talks about unions and how a president emboldens them does play a role in this. And we're seeing what Biden has done play a role in this.
Look, I don't know how else to say this, but Nikki Haley and Tim Scott are total idiots. They don't read the room. Read the room, you morons. Every poll is like 60, 70% of the country is like, we're pro-union now. And what they do is they leave that lane wide open yet again. Trump's already crushing these people. He's going to crush them by even more now because Trump is virtue signaling and pretending he's pro-worker. Now, he's lying brazenly, but he understands. He goes like this. Where's the wind blowing? Okay, I'll go in this direction. So to be fair, Nikki Haley and Tim Scott are being more honest. They're like, we don't like the workers. Okay. Trump is being like, I love the workers. I love them. As he actually agrees on the policy with Nikki Haley and Tim Scott, right? We'll talk a little more about this tomorrow, but there's this thing that's being colossally misreported in the media that, Trump is going to strike with the UAW workers. That is not true. Trump is giving a speech adjacent to the next Republican debate, and the speech is going to be with basically hand-picked workers. Some of them were auto workers, electricians, and others. So it's not the UAW strike. He's not going to walk the picket line. He already said he doesn't agree with what they're trying to do. Sean Fain has come out and spoken out against Trump, and Trump is going to virtue signal like he's pro-worker, and the entire media is misreporting it and saying, Trump is going to stand with the striking auto workers. That's not true. That's not true. But anyway, he knows how to play politics better than these idiots do. He's more dishonest, but he knows how to play politics better than them. So, again, I guess points for honesty, but also, thank you for telling us who you are, because we'll take that information and do what we will with it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.